Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. I am here in the Jagdpanzer E100. I'm going to be doing a review of it here. Yes, that's right, the Jagdpanzer E100. I finally got my hands on it after getting a 25% research off from the mission boxes. Namely, this one normally gives out... has got your highest for a certificate on researching vehicles. So yeah, I got 25% off, managed to get this thing with my free XP, and well, here it is now in my garage. It basically cleaned me out, as you can see, of credits. But yeah, we're finally here with the Jagdpanzer E100. So, it's most comparable to the Death Star in terms of gun, but let's just have a look at the rest of it. So it's got 2000 HP, which in comparison to the Death Star has got well, 1800 basically without that health upgrade. I think let's have a look at other turreted tank destroyers at this tier 10. We've got this thing, which is the 110E3, which has got 1800 HP. We've got the Foch, look at this, Foch 155, which has got 1850. And then let's just have a look at one of the Russian things, namely the Object 268. Here we go, which has got 1800. So it's got the most health out of all of the tier 10 tank destroyers. If this thing was at tier 2, oh boy, that would have been that would be a bit of a problem. No, of all of the tier 10 tank destroyers, this thing has got the most HP, which is rather nice, and it's also got some pretty decent armour as well. 200 frontal hull, 120 side, 150 rear. So it's basically the hull of the E100, as we can see here. 200 hull, 200, 120, 150 rear. It basically is just the hull of the E100. The engine has been swapped to the front of the tank, and a big old casemate and big old gun also put on it. Of course, the same old lower glacis is here, which is the big weak spot, and also this upper casemate here. The front, whilst it is sloped at a fairly decent degree, I think it is also only 200mm. So whilst it is sloped, anything with a rather powerful gun will be able to go straight through your upper casemate, which is not exactly ideal, but it's not exactly as bad as the Death Star's 152 at the front of the hull and like 127 at the front of the turret. It's not as badly armoured as the Death Star, but it's still not the most well-armoured thing. But you can get some decent bounces, especially if you try and bait them out with side scraping, because you can use this tank in two different ways. You can either use it as a traditional sniper, or you can use it as more of an assault tank, because it has got the armour to deal with tanks, especially if you go side scraping around buildings, because you've got these big wide tracks which absorb a decent amount of shots, and also you can bounce things off of the side of your casemate and hull. So you've at least got that going for you. View range, 262. Yeah, there's not much you can say. I think pretty much standard view range is around this with the coated optics. Mobility, not that mobile, honestly. 30 kilometers per hour top, fit 12 reverse, but only gets to 21 average speed. It's not that fast. Power to weight is only 9.6. Hull traverse is only a terrible 22.32 degrees per second, and that is with engine accelerator, which gives you an extra 84 horsepower engine. If you go with improved control, you still get just below 23 degrees. It's not really worth going for this when you can get this, but that's when we come to the equipment. It's really not that mobile. Yeah, 1200 horsepower engine, whilst that is a lot, it does weigh 133 tons. So yeah, that sort of counterbalances it, which is why you've got terrible power to weight. It's really not that mobile. In comparison to the E100, the E100 has got basically the same. It weighs slightly less, but with the same horsepower engine, so it gets an extra 1 horsepower per ton ratio, 0.1. So yeah, it's basically as mobile as an E100, which is not that mobile. So it's going to take you a while to get around the battlefield, and if anyone gets to your side or rear, you are pretty much donezo. You are dead. There is nothing you can do to shake them off. You're a massive target. They can get through your by then weak side armour and rear armour, and yeah, there's not much really you can do. It's a very strong tank only from the front or side scraping. So yeah, there's something to keep in mind. But now we come to the gun. It's a tier 10 gun, and it is the second biggest gun, I think, other than the Death Star's gun. It really is rather massive. It's a 170mm gun, or a 17cm pack Panzerabwehrkanone, mounted for this, Panzerjäger. So it's got 0.33 dispersion, which is rather accurate. It's got not that great of an aim time, 5.3 seconds of aim time. Not that great at all. Rather slow. Fairly decent DPM, but no one really cares about DPM unless it's really massive, at least I don't. Reload time is 15.84 seconds. It's not as long as the Death Star, which has got like a nearly half a minute reload. So it's not as bad as that, but it is still rather slow. 299 mils of average pen is pretty good. 380 with your heat and 85 with HE, and you do 800 average damage with AP, 680 with a heat, and 1200 with HE, which is a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. And it's got, that pen is pretty decent as well. You can get through most targets that you're shooting at with that, especially the heat as well. And HE you can get through some thinly armoured tanks as well, or sides and rears of some of the Americans, particularly rears of American high-tier vehicles. And of course it has that very big alpha damage gun. Not very good gun depression, however, only 6 degrees and 17 degrees of gun elevation, which is a bit But yes, only 6 degrees of gun depression because you're depressing this massive gun over this very, very long frontal hull. So yeah, there's something to keep in mind. So overall, in comparison to something like the Death Star, it compares rather favourably. The Death Star has got the mobility and arguably gun, but the Jagdpanzer has definitely got the armour. And it is a rather formidable tank to go up against. As for ammo, you do carry 24 rounds of ammo. You're never going to use that much ammo. It is, double the Death Stars, so if you don't have to worry about ammo in the Death Star, you definitely don't have to worry about ammo in the Jagdpanzer E100, and you can go ahead and mount them as you wish in a variety of ways. As for provisions, you've got your standard and improved fuel for 3 and 10% respectively. Engine power and turret traverse, not too bad of an idea, especially with your power to weight and hull traverse. Definitely go with them. And then you've got your bar of chocolate and your regular chocolate for your 3 and 10% respectively to crew mastery, especially useful for, again, average speed hull traverse, but especially for your reload time. And then you've got your protective kit, which is all of that, and you can go ahead and mount them as you wish. As for consumables, you've of course got your standard repair, first aid, fire. You've got your engine power boost for the extra engine power for 15 seconds, and then you've got your adrenaline to the extra reload speed for 15 seconds, and then you've got your multi-purpose, which is those 3 rolled into one, and you can go ahead and mount them as you wish. Of course, I prefer to stick with the OG original 3, all of them individual, but I know lots of people prefer to go with engine power and or adrenaline, so you can go ahead and mount them as you wish. And then we come to the equipment. You're definitely going to want gun rammer. You don't really need calibrated shells. There's very little that will stand in your way when you aim for weak spots, especially with 299 mils of pen. So you're definitely going to want the gun rammer to get that below 16-second reload. And then your improved modules for the extra track durability, because you lose your track, you are mostly dead, especially if you're in a bad position or you have imminently approaching mediums and light tanks. So you're definitely going to want to go with the improved modules. And then coated optics, all camo net. It really is a choice. Are you going to use this thing as an assault gun, or are you going to use it as a tank destroyer? Because like I said, you can play it in 2 different ways. You can either assault tank it, where you just go with the heavies and you basically run around a corner, derp someone in the face, and then either side scrape or just pull back into cover. Or you can go with the traditional tank destroyer and sit from afar and deliver those big old shells across the targets every 15 seconds. So yeah, you've got those 2 choices. It really is down to your playstyle there. You're going to want to go with enhanced gun lane drive though, get that aim time down, because that's rather long aim time. And then I'd say enhanced armour for the extra, because you've got fairly decent armour anyway. So enhanced armor is not a bad shout. You could go with improved assembly to get the extra 120 HP, but honestly, I would go with enhanced armor. And then engine accelerator for the extra horsepower per ton ratio. You're definitely going to want that. Because because it's really just a no-brainer. This gives you an extra 10% to the top traverse speed, but honestly, it's not really that useful. You get an extra 2.09 degrees with that, but then you get 0.15 with this, and you get an extra power to weight, an extra top speed, and more engine power. It really is a no-brainer. Go with engine accelerator. Refined gun you could go with. You're not exactly going to be doing that many snapshots, I would say, with vert stabs. I mean, maybe you will if you're going assault gun, so maybe go with vert stabs if you're an assault gun, or refined gun if you're going as a traditional tank destroyer loadout. And then I would say definitely enhanced tranks for this, because again, yeah, lose your tranks, you're basically dead, but then if you can kill whoever blew off your tranks and just let them repair by themselves, you'll get them back up to full instead of yellow. So you might as well go in enhanced tranks, and then your choice of whatever the hell those two things are. So overall, Jagdpanzer E100, it's a very strong tank destroyer, and it is a very good tank destroyer as well. I do like it. It's got very good armour, it's got a very big, powerful, dangerous, scary gun, and it's quite a fear factor when you see it roll around the corner to you. It is weak, obviously, to the lower glaciers and the upper casemate, especially to other Jagdpanzer E100s, but you can side scrape it and you can get some bounces because it has at least got the hull armour of an E100. So there is that going for you. So yeah, there you go, Jagdpanzer E100. I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.